Hi everyone. I just finished writing an amazing article and it came out so good, and I think it's one of the most important or the most important topic to cover that I said, let me do a video. I have the article in front of me. I'm going to try and do this in one take. So the article is about time. It's the most valuable asset, and it's the only asset that you can't buy. So I want to start out with two quotes. I'm going to read them because they're so powerful. So this first quote is from Mark Cuban. Time is the most valuable asset you don't own or can't buy. You may or may not realize it yet, but how you use or don't use your time is going to be the best indication of where your future is going to take you. Jim Rohn. Time is our most valuable asset, yet we tend to waste it, kill it, spend it, rather than invest it. So in this video today, I want to cover the importance of time and what we do and how you can accomplish it and how I actually did. And it's how we're trading time for money. So in this video, I'm going to cover the asset of time on how I achieved it and how anybody can achieve it. It's just by making some simple changes and doing things in your life. You don't need to worry about becoming financially free and leave your job. If you just create and go after and learn and educate yourself about the asset of time, you could keep that job that you like. You could do it, but you could achieve it and spend more time with your family or doing the things that you want, getting most out of the day. So that's why I want to cover this asset. It is so important. People are so worried about, oh, there were two words, hustle and financial freedom. Don't worry about those. Worry about time. Because that, if you achieve that, will get you all that. You'll hustle less and smarter. If you worry about time, you'll achieve that financial freedom. So as people, I tell them, stop worrying about those two words. People use the word hustle wrong. They're spinning their wheels just because they 20 hours a day, they're running around, they're exhausted. But if you go work at the time asset, you will hustle better. Be more efficient. You'll be with your family. You'll do the things you want to do in life. So we're going to start out. I'm going to read from my article right here. Time makes you more successful. How does time make you more successful? Well, time gives you the ability now. Me, I started working on myself. I always worked on myself at the restaurant. When I was younger, in my 20s, I used to work on myself a little bit. I wanted to build a business, but really started working on myself in my 30s. And what we teach in the mastermind is we get better 1% every day. So you're at your job, that's great. So when you get home, you spend time with your family, work on yourself. You're reading books. You're learning what do you do with your money from work instead of just buying things. There's so many things you can invest in. Bitcoin, gold, real estate, stocks. There is endless amount of things you can invest in. So work on yourself every day, a little bit, half hour, an hour, 2 hours. Depends how big your why and your everything, your family is. So you work on yourself. There's the three things: health, learning, and relationships. As I was learning to work on the asset of time, the reason was three things: is relationships, learning, and health. And none of these are possible without realizing that time is your most valuable asset. So now that I'm working, when I was younger, working towards that, creating more time by being more successful, doing the right things, learning how to invest, being in a mastermind, achieving that, first learning. Every day I have time now to work on myself and get better. And then if I'm working on myself, how to invest in Bitcoin, how to invest in multifamily, how to do that, and just everything. Your success accelerates. And the more you learn, the more you work on yourself, the more time you're going to achieve and get better and better. And it happens quicker. Your health, achieving the asset of time, I can work on my health more. Every day, I take 2 or 3 walks. I do 2 to 4 miles, 5 miles a day, and I'm able to work on my health. And then the last one is relationships. So I want to achieve the asset of time because I want to be there for my family and my wife. When I got married, when I was young, it was different. My thoughts were different. And maybe I was like in my 20s, oh, I want that Lambo. But then when my daughter was born, you realize, I got married for a reason. I want to be there for my kids. I want a little more time. You don't have to get rid of that job. You can have your 9 to 5 instead of your 7 to 9. Or these lawyers that work 80 hours a week. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a lawyer or even a doctor. These doctors are working 90 hours a week. It's a great profession. It's not for me. So I got married. I want to be with my family. So working towards that asset of time gave me the ability to be with my wife, what I want to be with her. I need to work on my relationship. It's, when we're younger, you think your job's really tough and stressed, and then you get married and you realize, wow, to have a successful marriage just doesn't come. It's not about having a lot of money and money solves all problems. No. To have a successful marriage, I realized when I was getting older, you need to work at it. And it's not easy. And there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. And everybody's going to go through difficult stuff. But the more you work at it, I'm married 20 years. And it's been great, but it's not been easy. I've been working at it. And working at that asset of time has let me been able to work at it. And when we have to work through things and go over things, I can work on my relationship and make it stronger. So number two, how can you protect, guard your most valuable asset? Jim Rohn says it, either you run the day or the day runs you. Number two, how can you protect or guard your most valuable asset? And Jim Rohn says over here in this quote, either you run the day or the day runs you. So the only way to guard your time is how you spend it exactly. So I'm going to go into that. Only way to guard your time is how you spend it exactly. So there's two parts to that. The first is, I always teach these young guys who right now, Bailey Kramer, he's 20, he's in college, and he's getting into his first multifamily property, crushes limiting belief, doesn't have a job, he's in school, and he's getting in. That's a whole nother discussion. When somebody wants to find out about that, we're going to have you contact them directly. But in your 20s, say you start a business or you have your corporate job and your side hustle, and you're not married and you don't have kids yet, so you're motivated and you have that energy and you have a side hustle on top of it and you're doing all this and you are hustling. So what I say is hustle in your 20s, build in your 30s, enjoy in your 40s. It is possible. I did it. And when I met my wife, I remember I was 26, we were 27, we were getting married. I told her one day, because she saw how hard I worked at the restaurant and she just couldn't believe it. She's like, wow, you guys are killing yourself. It's like a job like a lawyer, doctor. You're in your 20s, I was killing myself to build the business. So I said to her one day, she's like, I hope it's not going to be like this forever. I promised her. I said, by age 40, I will be out and I will always be around. And she smiled and, she's like, yeah, whatever, probably. But my wife knows me, that when I put my mind to something, I'm 46 now, I've always made my goal. I set my goals and I've not just achieved my goals, I crush my goals. And every year I do a vision board, and usually by 6 months, they're achieved. Even with all this COVID and H1N1 and 9/11, yeah, there were setbacks, 2008, but she knows that I achieved those goals. So in your 30s, maybe get married, maybe have a family, they start to change. In your 30s, I built the business. So about 35, 36, 37, I started to step back. I had the restaurant and passive investments. I worked on myself every day. I learned how to invest with my brother, with partners. So I had a great business making me money, investments, and I was getting smarter. And I started working less, working at home. I started becoming an owner, not an operator, as Tony Robbins teaches. People have businesses their whole lives, electricians, plumbers, they're operators, they're not owners. And they're just working from 7 in the morning to 9 at night, exchanging time for money. But if they learn the right way and they do the 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old method, working on themselves, they could get there. Okay? So at 30, I built, and then at 40, because of 2007, 2008, instead of achieving it at 40, I achieved it at 41. And when I did, I was able to sell the restaurant and get out. And I actually took my time because the restaurant sale in the building was a very difficult one. So I actually left at 45. For those 3-4 years, I took it easy. I built and I worked on myself even more and I planned even more. So I could have left at 41, 42, but I decided to really, it was not an easy thing to do, to give up a restaurant and income like that. So I wanted to make sure I was in the right position and doing the right thing. So I achieved it at 41 and I showed my wife and I told her I was 1 year off. And the only thing that really threw me off was 2007, 2008, which was so bad. That's what threw me off. This is very important. This is the second part to that, is do not say yes to everything. Learn how to say no. In my 20s, it was so hard for me to say no to things because I wasn't educated about it. And I felt like I needed to please a lot of people more than I should have and do everything and to get to that level. So learn how to say no. So three aspects to that is emails, cell phones, and tardiness. So let's go into emails. Everybody loves emailing. I say email is the best way of not to get something done. That's what I always tell my brother. And email is excellent for business, and you need it. I am very selective who I give my email to. I give it out very little to almost to nobody. And I actually have an assistant who has to help me take care of my emails because I get way too many of them. So the thing with email is yes, it's important, but you can go on in the morning and lose 3 hours and get nothing done just to clean them up. And then you think, oh, I don't want to miss that important email. So what I do instead of emailing is my interaction on my cell phone I have it on my phone, and I'd rather people text me or call me. I can listen to a voicemail, and I see a quick text. I can respond to that text if I want. If not, I don't respond to it. So I feel I do use email. I have an assistant now. I never did before, but I'm very selective who I give my email to, and I do not email that much. I email very little. It's got to be very important. It's usually for a deal, closing a deal. So I'd rather just reach out with a quick text during the day while I check my phone, and I check my phone for all my texts. That's one thing. Cell phones is number 2. I grew up with no cell phone. 46. I would not change a thing. I actually got my first phone. I think my father made me buy it. That's why when I was 22, I actually asked him, Dad, hey, I'm working at the restaurant 6 days a week, 5 days a week, 7 days a week. Can you buy me a phone? And he was paying me less than the dishwasher. He said, no, go buy it yourself. It was one of those Nokia flip phones, I think. And it was actually expensive. So I think I bought it at 21 or 22 when I was out of college. Never used it, stayed in the car. Eventually, I ended up, my phone, in 10 years later, would get $1,000 catering, so I changed. But cell phones, I grew up with no cell phone. I had the best time ever, great childhood, didn't need it. These kids are on the phones playing games, they think, look, I was happy to have a phone now. I have it now. I use it for business. So, I mean, if I'm on it, it's usually for business. And if my daughter sees me on it and we're together, I say, just got to make this business text and I'm getting off it. I'm not with the family looking at stupid stuff, wasting time. Maybe late at night, 11, 12, then I'm, if I want to relax and check things out, that's what I'll do. But when I'm on it, it's usually for business. I don't need to be on it to waste time. So number 3 is tardiness. This is something really important. It's just my personality. I am usually never late, very rarely. Even one of my coworkers said to me, I was 2 minutes late to a meeting a couple weeks ago. And I just went on and said, oh, it was actually in 3 minutes. I'm sorry, I'm running a little late. And she even said, she's like, you are never late. So, I mean, I believe in being on time because I have respect for people. I don't want to waste their time, and I don't want them to waste my time. It's so precious that I understand that. And I want the person who's associating with me to understand my time is very important. So I do not accept people if they're late. Usually, if I have to cancel, it's okay to cancel. I only cancel or postpone or push off a meeting. I just did it last week with 2 people in the mastermind. And I just moved the dates because there was an emergency. Family emergency. We actually had an emergency on a property that we were doing. It was and they were involved in that. So they fully understood, like, yep, no problem. Take care of what you got to take care of. I don't postpone or cancel unless there's an emergency. And that's fine. I absolutely understand that, especially with family and things going on in life with your kids. That's understandable. So that I'm okay with. And the last part to this is a mastermind. How do we guard your time is when you join a mastermind, you're in the mastermind and you're creating an action plan, quarterly action plan. You're creating vision boards. You are doing MITs. You're talking about emailing. You're creating a proximity list. I had a proximity list of 2, me and my brother. Then I increased it to 5. The 5 people you surround yourself with. And that brought me from successful to super successful to financial freedom. My proximity list now is about 35, 30. And it's not just people I surround myself with. Partners on properties. I don't just partner with just anybody. I have a system of code, ethics, and goals. I have to match mine of family. Okay, so in the mastermind, we do all that to protect ourselves against time. We're building proximity lists, vision boards, quarterly action plans, and everything I just said. That is very powerful. And number 3, valuing time over money makes you happier. So that whole concept of valuing time over money, how does it make you happier? So people are striving when they're younger for that 6,000 square foot house or 4,000 square foot house. These things that, are great, but why don't you learn how to work on that at a time? So when you're young, why don't you learn, or whatever age you are, 50, doesn't matter, why don't you learn how to maybe invest in multifamily that creates that passive income that can get you that house or car, that'll pay for it instead of your W-2 job just paying for it and living check by check. So money only buys some happiness. So when you work on time, you're working on yourself, and you keep teaching yourself and learning, and you're creating more time, you keep creating more time by learning how to invest in stocks, by learning how to do and by learning how to live within your means at first. So then one day everything you do creates the time for you, and you can buy anything, do anything, be with your family, and not worry about it, or be a slave to your job the rest of your life. And lastly, a few important topics. You need to perceive time as a currency. And let me go into that. So when I was in my 20s, 22, 23 in the restaurant, my brother would spend $10,000 on a business coach for himself, for the restaurant, for his whole life. And I thought, I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. That's so much money. Because my dad wasn't paying me much back then. And I said to him, I said, do you want me to give you some money, $2,000, $3,000, because I don't have a coach, because it's helping you with the business and he's giving me great ideas? And he said, no, he was doing it for us and himself. So it was some for us. So then I realized I need to start doing it. So I started spending about not spending, it's not a cost. I started investing in myself, $3,000 to $4,000 a year on a coach as my income went up. And so people would say, oh my God, he's such a smart guy. Look at him at the restaurant. He's so successful. I wasn't that smart. I had great business coaches. How do you think I landed LaGuardia Airport? How do you think I landed Sloan Kettering? How do you think I had an online cooking school? How do you think we came out with a cookbook and a knife set? How do you think I had a jarred marinara sauce company? What else did we do? Cooking classes that I did in people's houses. First I started the restaurant. How do you think I catered the tri-state area? 8 things. I could keep going. So people who open restaurants, they think you become successful, I have the best food in the world. Everybody's got a restaurant. I teach the restaurant business model. It's a total failure. I teach how to be successful in the restaurants, all those things you do besides that I just said. How did I learn that? Not on my own, because I'm too busy working and doing the specials. Your brain can only take so much. They're so easy. It's like Tony Robbins teaches you when he says something. But you know why? It's what's even easier is when you're too busy running that business and you have problems in that business. Who quits? Who's getting hurt? How do I increase my business? But then you have a coach who's giving you these ideas. After a long day and you're stressed, you have a call from the next day, and you're like, wow, that's a great idea. And you start writing it down and building that plan. That's how I implemented all these. So now I got to a certain level, and once you start investing in yourself, you realize, wow, I'm doing better. So maybe I should invest a little more in myself. So now at the level I'm at, I invest about $10,000 to $20,000 a year on my education. Probably about 10 to 12. Tony Robbins Business Mastery 1 changed my life. It's $10,000. I got it for $6,000. I'm probably going to go to the same one again. So that's about, say, 6 right there. And I'll do a $6,000 to $10,000 event every year. And then I do 10 events for Jake and Gino, which I'm working for the company as a student success specialist. So I would go to those anyway. So I go to about 10 of those between the hotel and everything and what cost me. So I spend about $10,000 to $12,000 a year. And it's this business coaching, masterminds, mentorships that are going to get you to learn the asset of time and how to achieve it more. You could do it without it. But as Tony Robbins says, if you surround yourself by the people who are doing it, you will accelerate your success by 10 years. And you'll achieve that asset of time faster. And it's a compound effect, just like in stocks. So why wouldn't you want to surround yourself with those kind of people who are going to bring you up and make you achieve your goals? And now, one of the last things is I tell people, when you're really serious, like Tony Robbins says, you surround yourself with the people that are achieving these goals. And people, when he says it, it's like, oh my God, it's like he's a genius. He really is one of the smartest. I love listening to him. But we're so busy in life focusing on the shiny objects, the house, the car, that we don't really think about that. But when he says it, it's okay. He said, oh, now I got to go do that. So if Tony Robbins didn't say that, you're too busy worrying about buying stuff and not working on the asset of time. But he tells you, what is that car good if you're not working on your health? He talks about health. Because what if you're not here to drive that car or that house? So he talks about all that stuff. So surround yourself with the people who are achieving those goals, and you're going to knock off 10 years, right? We talked about that. So how's a great way to do it? I started a mastermind. And if I didn't start a mastermind, I would be in a mastermind because I did that all my life. We have 30 strong people in this mastermind. They're family people with amazing goals, amazing ethics, And we don't just talk about taking deals down. It's not just about that. It's about our health. We talk about our health. We put people on the spot. You're taking care of yourself. We educate about that. We get on calls. So somebody's having a problem at work or something and he needs to talk to somebody. We all get together and we help that person out. It's a family thing. It's about fixing everything in your life first so then you could crush your goals. You're not crushing your goals if you don't fix the things in your life first. Everybody talks about, I'm going to do 1,000 units. No, you're not. How's your job? How's your relationship with your wife? How are your kids doing? How's your health? So what we do is we target everything and we work on your life and our lives together. Because when you make everything better, do you have you hate your job? Get a better job. Just make a choice. Get your resume ready. We'll get you a better job. We'll look, we'll network. Just simple things like that. Improve your life first. Once we get your life improved, then you can really focus, wake up, get most out of the day and crush the day and go after your goals and work on that at a time. So that's the thing. Everybody sees mastermind. Oh, it's just people getting together. There's a lot of masterminds. They just get together and they talk and yeah, let's do this and ideas. No, this is structured with action plans, vision boards, improving your life. That's the main thing. I tell them, you need 6 months in and then you start seeing the wheels going, man. And you look back and look what I accomplished in 6 months. That was probably the most productive 6 months of your life. And you're like, oh my God, I wish I started this. Everybody always says, I wish I did it. Too bad, you didn't. You started now, accept it. Going forward, you're going to crush it. So that's one of the things. And guys, last thing, if you watched up till now, I want to thank you. And I want you to comment below. Please interact. Don't be afraid. Tell me if you like this or not. Tell me if some things I said were wrong or right. I always want to get better. I'm very humble, very modest. My dad always told me, he made sure. My dad was an immigrant from Italy, and he did unbelievable in this country buying real estate. He didn't go to high school or college. But one thing he reminded me when I was younger to remember where we came from. Be very confident, but be humble. Okay? So the last thing is a key takeaway. I'm going to read it because I don't want to get it wrong. It's such a good thing, I think, is don't take time for granted. Instead, cherish it so you can squeeze every minute out of every day. And I'm going to show you what I do and what we teach. And I got to give my brother and Jay credit for this one because I use my phone and Google Calendar. We're always like this with our phones. I had a 10X planner from Grant Cardone. I liked it. It was day by day. It was okay. I've always had planners and things so I don't miss calls. But what I do now is a simple, on my desk is a timesheet, Monday to Sunday. And this is last week's and this is this week's. And I teach how to time block. Even when I go to dinner with my wife, 5 to 7, I put a box, dinner with the wife, and I check it off after or cross it out. That was a success, something great. I do from 6 in the morning to 10 at night. When you start doing that, it's a little tough in the beginning because you're out of routine and you feel like it's a job. I wake up Saturday morning or Sunday morning at 8. I have coffee, relax. I start working on my next week, my calls. You'll never miss a call. You won't be late because if you're late with me, I'm not going to, I accept it maybe once unless it's an emergency. So even something like your oil filter, how many times do you have an oil filter for your car and the day before you get that text like, oh, I forgot about it. It's because it's really not that important to you, you don't think. But it is important because you need to time block and mark things down, all your calls or your things. You will get the most out of your day. We'll stop making excuses. I don't have time. You do have time. I used to make excuses. I have an older brother that crushed that limiting belief. He would always look at me and say, stop making excuses. I have 6 kids. Get it done. Now. Do it. Right behind me. Yesterday, tomorrow, now. Join a mastermind now. Why are you waiting? I know you're saying, yeah, I'll do it in 3 months. It's not the right. It's never the right time. Nothing in life is the right time. If you really want something, if you're passionate about it, you do it now. Stop waiting. Stop debating. Just do the research. Just make sure it's the right fit. The goals, everything's the right fit. Just that thing right there. I have it there. Because my kids, they'll say, I'll do it tomorrow. No, I tell them, do it now. The project's done, do it now. I have these stupid things up and my wife thinks I'm crazy, but I don't care. It's just what I am and the energy I have and the passion I have. I want people to see my passion and my energy. And if they like my passion and energy, I'm happy. And if they don't, I'm happy too. I want to be transparent and genuine to people. So that's something important. And I think you could see the passion and energy I have in this video. I hope you guys liked it. Please comment. You want to network with me? I have 3,200 plus people on my phone. I'm growing my network. Those quotes behind me, your network is your net worth. 914-615-1859. Don't be afraid. It's free. I don't want anything from you. I want to network with you. I want to add value to you. I want you to add value to me. I want to keep growing my network. I've achieved the asset of time. I'm with my family every day. I can do work when I want, where I want, if I want, and who I want with. I want everybody to do that, especially my family and friends that I love. I can give free tips to get you started, to get you over the line of where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What are your goals? What's holding you back? It's not about buying just property. It's about improving your life, living your best life. Look at my website. Living your best life. Learn, invest, finance, education. Life. Check out my website. Pretty cool. MarcoBarbaro.com. M-A-R-C-O. Last name is B-A-R-B-A-R-O. I'll put it in the comments.com. And then I have my mastermind website. Check that out too. So please, once again, comment or reach out to me. Have a great day, guys.